wake up, the alarm clock screams, but it's the silence that hits harder. You stare at the ceiling, the same cracked plaster you've looked at for years, and for a fleeting, terrifying moment, you don't know why you are there. The world is moving, the sun is rising, and everyone around you seems to be chasing something. You are just existing. It is a quiet, suffocating realization. You have built a life, you have played by the rules, you have filled your days with obligations, yet there is a hollow space in your chest that no amount of work, food, or distraction can fill. You look at the man in the mirror and you see a ghost. You aren't living, you are just waiting for the day to end so you can start the cycle over again. By the end of this video, you will exactly learn how to diagnose the purpose vacuum in your life, why your current restlessness is not a sign of failure, but a signal of growth, and the precise psychological steps to forge a mission that keeps you anchored until your final breath. This is for the man who is tired of pretending, the man who knows he was built for more than just survival. The weight of a life without a compass. Carl Jung once said, "Man cannot stand a meaningless life." He wasn't talking about being bored on a Tuesday afternoon. He was talking about the fundamental human need to have a structure, a reason to be. When a man lacks a purpose, he doesn't just feel unhappy, he feels disintegrated. Think about a ship in the middle of a storm with no rudder. It isn't just that it isn't moving toward a destination, it is being torn apart by the waves. This is what it feels like to live without a mission. You are at the mercy of every external force. When things go well, you are distracted by short-term pleasure. When things go wrong, you are crushed by anxiety because you have no why to justify the suffering. A man without a purpose feels a deep, gnawing sense of shame. He sees other men who seem on fire, men who wake up before the sun, men who seem to be fighting a battle they actually care about. He compares his internal void to their external drive, and he assumes he is broken. But you aren't broken. You are just dormant. You are an engine sitting in a garage with no fuel. The anatomy of drift. How does a man act when he has no purpose? You know the signs because you've seen them in yourself or in your peers. He becomes a master of distraction. He consumes media. He engages in trivial debates. He focuses obsessively on things he cannot control, the economy, politics, other people's failures. He becomes a critic rather than a creator. A man without a purpose is almost always reactive. If a conflict arises at work, he lets it ruin his mood for 3 days. If someone slights him, he holds on to the resentment because his mind is empty, and resentment is a very easy thing to fill an empty mind with. He stops taking risks. He plays it safe because if you aren't aiming for anything, you have everything to lose by failing. This leads to a specific kind of numbness. You might have a good job, a house, and a family, but you feel like a passenger in your own life. You are checking boxes. You are doing what is expected of you, but there is no soul in the labor. You are tired, not the tired that comes from hard work, but the soul-crushing fatigue that comes from spiritual stagnation. You are physically exhausted, yet you haven't actually done anything. The consequence of living in the vacuum. What happens if you persist in this state? You become a shadow of the man you were meant to be. Jung warned, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. If you refuse that calling, if you keep stuffing that void with superficial comforts, you start to lose your identity. You become brittle. Because you have no purpose, you have no resilience. Life's inevitable challenges, health scares, financial dips, the changing nature of your relationships as you age, don't just challenge you, they devastate you. Without a mission, every obstacle is a tragedy. With a mission, every obstacle is just a test of your resolve. A man who lives without a purpose eventually realizes that he has wasted his most precious asset, his limited time. As you cross the threshold into your 40s and beyond, the realization that time is finite becomes sharper. You begin to understand that you aren't just losing days, you are losing parts of yourself. The man who could have been starts to haunt you. You see him in the back of your mind, the man who actually stood for something, the man who built, The man who led, the man who was feared and respected for his craft. And the disconnect between who you are and who you could be becomes a form of psychological torture. Finding your North Star. So how do you fix it? How does a man find his purpose when he feels like the cement has already dried on his life? First, you must understand that purpose is not something you find under a rock or in a self-help book. Purpose is something you construct. It is an act of will. You have to stop looking for a calling from the universe and start looking at your own life with brutal honesty. Jung suggested that we must look at our shadows. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You need to ask yourself 3 difficult questions. 1. What is the suffering I am willing to bear? Everyone wants a purpose that feels like winning a prize. But real purpose is about the load you are willing to carry. Are you willing to suffer the rejection of starting a new business? Are you willing to suffer the discipline of training your body until it breaks? Are you willing to suffer the isolation of standing by your principles when everyone else is compromising? Choose your burden and you will find your direction. 2. What does my life demand of me right now? You aren't 20 years old anymore. Your purpose at 45 is different from your purpose at 20. Maybe your purpose is to build a legacy for your children, or to master a craft that you've ignored for a decade, or to fix the fundamental character flaws that have sabotaged your relationships. Stop looking at the horizon and look at your feet. What is the one thing in front of you that you know you need to fix or build, but have been too lazy to address? 3. What is the shadow I have been suppressing? Often our purpose is hidden in the very things we are afraid of or the things we find too difficult. Jung believed that there is gold in the shadow. Are you afraid of being seen as incompetent? Maybe your purpose lies in becoming an expert. Are you afraid of being alone? Maybe your purpose is to build the kind of independence that makes you invulnerable to loneliness. The daily discipline of sovereignty. Once you identify the path, you must execute with the intensity of a man who has nothing to lose. This is where most men fail. They have a light bulb moment, they feel inspired for a week, and then they slip back into the comfort of their old habits. Purpose requires a daily ritual. You must treat your mission like a professional job. If your purpose is to build a better life for your family, your purpose is not just working hard. Your purpose is the intense, deliberate, and boring work of managing your finances, your health, and your emotional stability every single day. There is a profound beauty in this kind of labor. When you have a purpose, your work stops being a burden, it becomes a ritual. You stop looking for validation from other people because your validation comes from your alignment with your own mission. You are no longer bothered by the chaos of the world because you have a center. When you act with purpose, you become a sovereign man. You are the king of your own domain. You don't ask for permission to move forward. You don't wait for the world to give you an opportunity. You create it. You start to see that the void was never empty. It was just waiting for you to fill it with your own actions. A call to the man in the mirror. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, it's too late for me. That is the biggest lie you've ever told yourself. The man who is reading this right now, the man who is listening to these words, is the only version of you that matters. You cannot change your past, but you are the absolute architect of your present. Jung once wrote, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. This is your moment of choice. You can close this video, go back to your routine, and continue to exist in that gray, hollow space of safety. You can spend another 20 years wondering why you feel like a spectator in your own existence. Or you can accept the pain of transformation. You can accept that being a man with a purpose is difficult, often lonely and demanding, but it is the only way to feel truly alive. When you align your life with a purpose, something shifts in your biology. Your posture changes. Your voice gains depth. Your ability to withstand stress increases. You stop being a person who is happening to by life and you become the one who is happening to the world. Ask yourself tonight before you go to sleep, if I died tomorrow, would the world lose anything? If the answer is no, then you have work to do. Don't be afraid of that answer. Embrace it. It is the most honest starting point you have ever had. You are at a crossroad. One path leads to comfort, slow decay, and a life of quiet desperation. The other path leads to the exhausting, exhilarating, and deeply meaningful work of actualizing your potential. Choose the work. Choose the struggle. Choose to be the man you were always meant to be.